Hi, everybody, and thank you for taking the time to join us today for the latest webinar in our Revolve webinar series brought to you by IAB Southeast Asia and India. I'm Laura Greeley, Regional VP here based in Singapore, and I am absolutely delighted to introduce you to this week's webinar, where we turn our attention to conversational commerce across the region. Messaging has seen a significant rise across the world. In APAC, 95% of people surveyed who are conversational commerce buyers say that they see themselves increasing their spending in the future. I would like to welcome Karen Teo, Vice President of Global Business Group for APAC at Facebook, as well as that IAB Southeast Asia and India Regional Board Member, as she will take us through all we need to know in this space. Later on, she'll be joined by a fireside chat with Pierre-Olivier Guy, Chief Digital Officer, L'Oréal Vietnam, who will be sharing his experience. This is, of course, an interactive session, so please feel free to use the Q&A function to ask any questions during today's session. Without further ado, I'll hand you over to Karen Teo.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Like Laura said, we will be talking about conversational commerce this afternoon. And I am very, very pleased to be able to join us and tell you all about that. I lead the Facebook's Global Business Group here in APAC, where I've had the pleasure and privilege of leading the relationships with our very highly diverse slate of businesses and agencies in the region across our family of apps. And I wanted to take your time today to at least start this webinar off on a high note, talking about something many of us enjoy, shopping, and the great experiences of shopping online. I am very late to the game, literally, with this particular game called Zelda on the Nintendo Switch. So I bought myself a copy over the weekend, and I did this whole purchase process entirely via chat, from asking about the versions that they have available all the way to showing my transactions and getting confirmation on delivery. It was such a smooth, easy experience, and I really wonder, can you imagine doing this for all your purchases? From the clothes you wear, to booking your holiday, to confirming your bank account and whether it's been set up. And isn't it great when all your questions are answered instantly? Experiences personalized when sellers make complimentary recommendations on the back of your purchases. Well, messaging is helping brands make this possible. But first, let's take a step back and figure out, why did this happen and how did it happen? Let's look at messaging. Messaging is so core to our lives, and it's not just something that we do with friends and family anymore. We're definitely seeing this shift to messaging play out across our platforms, with over 100 billion messages being sent every day. To put this in perspective, this number has already surpassed peak SMS usage. And people are also not just sending more text. They're also sending more photos, videos, and live links. 87% of the global internet population are using mobile messaging apps, and we expect this number to increase as communication becomes more free, faster, and more frequent. Now, this new variant of e-com has already been around, a collision of two trends, messaging as an increased form of communication and commerce online. And this is sparking something powerful and new. Messaging is creating more opportunities for commerce. And brands can actively engage in conversations with consumers and move them from interest to action, leading to sales and transactions. We call this conversational commerce. Now, the industry has a very, very specific term for conversational commerce. They define it as connecting people and businesses through chat or voice assistants, with the intent to drive the purchase of goods or services. Our focus today is on specifically chat or messaging, because it is something that we're seeing increasing trend-wise. It is accessible, it's widespread, it's worldwide. And it's something that most anyone with a smartphone can and does engage in. So when we talk about conversational commerce, I also want to be able to tell you that we are talking about the full range of reasons people chat with businesses. It's not just about seeing the purchase specifically. It includes everything from asking about store hours, booking appointments, ordering deliveries, and resolving issues. In this presentation, you hear two terms. One term, conversational commerce buyers, who complete or prove purchases within a chat. We will also be referring to conversational commerce shoppers, the larger cohort of people who use chat along their purchase journey. Now, I remember growing up, going to shops with my grandma. I'll walk into the shop and the shopkeeper will know who she is. They'll be chatting about the family, and then the shopkeeper will pull from under the counter like my grandma's favorite brand of biscuits, just back and stop. If you think about memories like that and experiences like that you've had, it makes the rise of conversational commerce, it makes a lot of sense. And we all know that strong relationships are based on healthy communication. And all that begins with conversation. Now, clearly the momentum here is undeniable. And today we'll share why conversation matters, why people can't get enough of it, and why it's time for you to seriously consider your conversational commerce strategy. It's no secret, in our always-on mobile world, people's expectations continue to rise. You and I are shoppers, you know how our expectations are. But it's also a specific set of expectations that has unlocked the door to conversational commerce. We all know that catering to consumers' ever-rising expectations can be a challenge for businesses too. Nearly 3 in 4 customers say they want companies to communicate with them in real time and to do it in a personalized way. People expect brand experiences that feel practically magical. And the magic of conversation is that it's uniquely be able to answer this call or message if we're being technical. We all also know that customers value businesses that value them. In APAC, people want even more of that personal interaction with brands. While 7 in 10 businesses think they are communicating effectively with their customers, the truth is only 2 in 10 customers agree. People have lost their tolerance for friction in any form. And there is a massive opportunity to better bridge this divide and meet users where they're eager to communicate and interact. This is more true during recent times. In a time of crisis, people seek out sources of information and they want to connect with you. The influx of customer service is more than most companies can handle. And we at Facebook, we saw this reflected in our own data in terms of messaging. When communication lines are inundated, people turn to familiar and quick ways of getting what they need, whether it's flight updates, booking information, clarification on action steps, and so on. We also saw that trust and reassurance are key factors in the buyer's experience on conversational commerce. Ultimately, these factors are drivers of sales. 9 out of 10 people in the Philippines said they are more likely to shop with a business they could message with. And the same Kantar research across other countries in Southeast Asia, we see that this percentage is about 93, 94%. This is why we believe the world is ready and waiting for conversational commerce. The truth is that for years, entrepreneurial people, especially in emerging markets and in small businesses, have actually begun doing conversational commerce in often very creative ways. So how does this work? Let me share an example of a conversational commerce player from Vietnam. They're called Soul Spa. And what we see is that for these sellers, the entire journey takes place across different forms of conversations on our platform. So Soul Spa was already using Messenger to engage with its customers and provide customer service and support. In an effort to drive appointment bookings, Soul Spa used lead generation and Messenger to gather basic information like location, preferred day and time of service, and a phone number to qualify these customers. Their Messenger experience collected customer preferences for treatment, allowed their customer support team to follow with tailored messages to book the appointment or the service. The business integrated with a marketing partner called Pancake to enable their sales agents to respond to customer requests across a variety of different communication channels. In this 2-week campaign, Soul Spa saw 3.5 times more qualified leads with Messenger and 72% lower cost per lead with Messenger. While not shown here, you can also reconnect via sponsored messages by sending relevant offers, promotions, or business updates directly to the people in your business that your people in your business is already talking to in Messenger. If you have already connected with your customer on Messenger, either through a bot for Messenger or through live chat support, you can re-engage with them within the first 24 hours of the conversation. Beyond that, you can leverage sponsored messages to re-engage with these customers by sending relevant ads to them. So this is like an example of a full funnel walkthrough of how conversations across different parts of the funnel bring customers along with you on the journey to purchase. From the earlier experience, you saw that it's the larger opportunity we're thinking of. All the conversations that may influence customer behavior and ultimately leading to purchases, bookings, and loyalty. If you look at this chart, you see the percentage of customers who said they discovered a product or service that was available on chat. That's in the top tier, followed by the middle tier of data, where we are seeing customers who said they were influenced by the conversation they had with a brand through conversational commerce. And finally, the percentage of people who converted into buyers. Like Laura mentioned, 95% of conversational commerce buyers in APAC intend to increase or maintain their spending. So when we saw the momentum behind conversational commerce, we worked with BCG to gain a better understanding of just how large this opportunity is and how much it will grow. The 9-market survey, focus groups, and in-depth interviews shone a light on consumers' expectations when they were chatting with businesses. And as you can see here, conversational commerce buyers are serious about maintaining or increasing their spending. This is even more true in Asia Pacific, but it's also happening around the world. Conversational commerce will continue. And there are many reasons why buyers use chat. There are 4 main advantages of conversational commerce: of convenience, confidence, flexibility, and exclusivity. Some advantages are more key for some markets more than others. For example, again, through the survey, we saw that having access to exclusive products is more attractive for customers in Thailand, or having flexible payment is more important for customers in Vietnam. In addition, having flexible delivery is the primary reason for customers in India to use conversational commerce. So with the best from both worlds, what's not to love about conversational commerce? Conversational commerce also introduces new shoppers to online buying. We saw in research that 46% of conversational commerce buyers started buying online because of chat. Among these buyers, we see a large part of them being older consumers like Auntie here, who found e-com sites more confusing and less intuitive. But Auntie, she chats with everyone, right? And furthermore, these new consumers account for close to half of all the purchases made via chat across markets in APAC. Since starting conversational commerce, buyers also report spending 60% more. Their ongoing relationships with sellers entices them to buy on more unplanned occasions, to buy more each time, and to spend more to get a discount or free shipping. And the trust that they eventually build with the sellers cultivates like an easier time and easier, less friction for them to buy things online that they previously would not have. 7 out of 10 shoppers across APAC reported discovering they were able to purchase items via chat platforms through advertisements and social media posts. And as you can tell, social and messaging are often the gateway to conversational commerce. They start in a different ecosystem. When we look at where conversational commerce is happening, like I said before, 47% of it takes place across these social and messaging platforms, and it's happening not just on the Facebook family of apps, but also across other chat apps. To varying degrees, people engage with conversational commerce across categories, industries, verticals, and they do so across their path to purchase. Particularly, customers in APAC, they have a tendency to make impulse purchases like clothing via messaging. As customers in this always-on age, responsiveness is essential and is a key trust builder for shoppers. It's important to find a solution to handle all the conversations that come your way quickly as part of the trust building with consumers. So bots is one of the things that a lot of us are thinking of right now, right? Maybe we can use bots to kickstart and respond quickly to customers. However, bots may be good at many things, but empathy is perhaps not yet one of them. So for more complex issues, the good news is that there is a valuable role for people to play here. In many cases, a hybrid approach to automation, whether it's a process for handing over to a person, can be a compelling and versatile solution for many businesses. Conversational commerce also continues to evolve and bring that personal human touch to online shopping beyond chat. Live shopping, as an example, is bringing the see your goods and the virtual try before you buy experience to life. Let's look at Hassan. It's like a perfect example of live shopping, bringing the human element into conversational commerce. Hassan, he sells dried shrimp, squid, and fish in a nightly Facebook live stream. Hassan is really quick with jokes. He's adept at interacting with customers, and he can draw up to like 300,000 viewers at a time. He doesn't do this alone. He's backed by a team who help to respond to orders, answer questions on Facebook Messenger, and monitor payments to his bank account. And together, sometimes they even shout out taglines off camera for comedic effect. The conversational commerce appears to deliver a meaningfully better experience for most people, as 95% of conversational commerce buyers will continue to maintain or increase their spending. But what about during times of COVID? Well, many people are shopping online by extending their shopping baskets into smaller sectors like household products, and not just for food and personal care. I'm surprised I don't see toilet paper here in this chart. We also saw that with the need to want to maintain safety and with shops closing, a large increase in consumers were shifting their preference to shopping channels to e-com. And with this change in shoppers' usual shopping channels, growth is coming from all factors. But take special note here of the increase of new shoppers switching to e-commerce and how they're purchasing more FMCG products online. And as part of the e-com shift during COVID, we also saw a big uptick in conversational commerce with more buyers purchasing through conversational commerce channels and higher value of goods purchased through the channels. So what does this mean to marketers? Well, crisis accelerates change, with many shoppers preferring to buy online from the safety and comfort of their homes and some storefronts closed. Companies must now rely more on their online sales. There are new expectations. Marketers will need to adapt to these changing behaviors. 70% of global consumers say they are spending more time on their phone since the start of the COVID-19 outbreak, and 46% of internet users in a recent study say they'll be shopping online more after the outbreak is over. There is also new urgency. Heightened competition from companies built for the new normal is out there. Alibaba's online supermarket, Hema, for instance, reported that orders were up 220% year over year during Chinese New Year when the virus started spreading in China. In the United States, online delivery service Instacart subscription grew 10 to 20 times in states with the most reported COVID-19 cases. Much of this new e-commerce activity has also been from new users. And we are all going through this. We have to do more with less. Budgets will be reprioritized for savings and ROI. And the survey that we did, 84% of large MNCs agree that now is an opportunity to rethink everything in terms of our marketing organization. Now let's talk about what conversational commerce can do for you. I will not be going too deep into this. I'll just talk through 3 steps. Because Pierre-Olivier is just here, he will be sharing his experience and learnings later, so I won't spend too much time here. Just keep these few things in mind. Number 1, there are 3 parts in messaging to think about. You need to identify the role that messaging can play. Next, make sure that whatever experience that you're building for your customers is best in class. And finally, know that you can't build everything yourself and that nothing is complete out of the box or natively. Hire a partner and build that best experience that you want for your customers. I gave you an example of how people are messaging businesses across their journeys. And we've seen that there's a value exchange between people and businesses from the moment someone is interested in what you sell, which is the upper funnel, right through to loyalty at the lower funnel. We talked about bots, and here is an example of KFC Malaysia using a bot to run a 2-week campaign to try to drive food delivery orders via their messaging bot. They saw increased conversations, increased deliveries, increased orders. But let's take a little bit of time here around the need to build for the experience that your business needs and that your customers will appreciate. Once you've chosen the problem you believe messaging will solve better than current channels, work with marketing partners out there who understand conversational commerce to find the right developer to build you a solution. Regardless of which part of the customer journey you need to build out for a greater customer experience, there's a partner out there for you. All the partners that were shown here are partners that are supported by platforms like Facebook. They're vetted for excellence in their industries and are highly skilled on our platforms. These partners save you time, and they provide support in everything from advertising to product sales, freeing you to focus on other challenges for your business. They also drive measurable results. Whether you're a small business or an established enterprise, these partners can deliver solutions to help you reach your goals. I mentioned that Pierre-Olivier is coming on. Pierre-Olivier is a little bit different from all these MNCs that we interviewed and we surveyed. He started seeing the potential of conversational commerce 2 years ago, and he started piloting these with Kiehl's and worked with Haravan, one of these marketing partners, and saw strong results. He has since expanded that to other brands, such as La Roche-Posay, which continued to bring him increased returns. And you can see here in the example of La Roche-Posay, the use of live shopping, conversations in a chat form, and driving a lot of returns and increased conversations. I don't think I do this case study good justice. Let me bring Pierre-Olivier on and have him tell you all about this himself. Pierre-Olivier is the Chief Digital Officer of L'Oreal in Vietnam, and it is my pleasure to be able to speak to him on this webinar and hopefully share some of his strong insights with all of you.
Hello.
Hello, Pierre-Olivier. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you.
I'm just going to look at some of these questions that we're getting, as well as questions that we've prepped ahead of time. I think it's really interesting for a lot of the people attending this webinar to understand a few things. Like, for me personally, it's exciting to see like big, more traditional brands who've been around for a long time be very proactive in looking at their customers, their behaviors, and then changing the way they run their business and do business with these customers. Can you tell me more about what trends or behaviors you saw in your markets that made you decide, like, hey, I'm going to be proactive and do a conversational commerce test with Kiehl's?
Yeah, sure. So maybe I will explain what we've done, and then I will detail a bit more the trends that we leverage. So at L'Oréal Vietnam, we explored conversational commerce for almost 2 years. So we basically started very small with our luxury brands, Kiehl's, with basically one agent giving advice and selling via Messenger. So initially, the objective was to ensure 100% reply rate, so responsiveness, as you highlight in your introduction. It was for us very key. And then we quickly realized that a big part of the consumer queries were about products, promotion, or where can I buy this new serum from Kiehl's. So then we quickly saw a potential for sales. We then allow our agent to actually collect orders from the consumer on Messenger and transmit those orders to the physical store. And we actually saw outstanding results with sales skyrocketing, and conversational commerce after 2-3 months contributed 5% of the national sales of Kiehl's. So it was a pretty encouraging result. However, we need to professionalize it and make it sustainable and scalable. So also what we observed is that not only it brings sales, but it also a recruitment channel, especially from rural zones, so outside Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi, because those people precisely do not have access to Kill's products. So Facebook could bring the product to them. And after a few months of preparation, we partnered with a local enabler, Haravan, to develop a hybrid messenger bot. And then we went out to launch Pose. So you were asking about the trends, which led us to use Facebook to sell to consumers. So first and foremost, in Vietnam, beauty is one of the category showing the highest online penetration, more than 30% actually, if we take into account the parallel imports, the C2C. And in this online beauty market, Facebook is already actually the #1 beauty destination. Kantar estimate 50 to 60% in value of the total beauty online is actually driven by Facebook. So obviously, as a brand, as we are doing our digital transformation, we cannot limit ourselves to Lazada and Shopee. Those pure players are probably natural partners for brands, but not necessarily for consumers. So, and we all notice that actually those players are already trying to becoming more social with live chat, feeds, live streaming, user-generated content, gaming. But the Vietnamese consumer still perceives those platforms, Shopee and Lazada, more as a trading platform. And there is still a lack of trust, which limits their purchase. And why do they trust Facebook more than Shopee and Lazada? There is many reasons. So first of all, based on our consumer panel, to whom we ask those questions, the result is that first on Facebook, you have beauty closed groups, which is a major source of reliable information for consumer. The recommendation, the tips delivered by beauty lovers under their real identity is actually super powerful, while on e-commerce, the rating and reviews and everything are given under a nickname, right? So it's quite anonymous. Also, the consumer who wants to chat directly with their favorite brand, they know the path to the official brand page on Facebook. They assume easily that any conversation on this page is handled by the brand itself. On the other hand, there is still a little awareness on Shopee Mall, Lazmo, and the volume of conversation on e-commerce platforms, the live chat, is still small. And there is still a little bit of confusion whether you are talking to the platform when you chat on Lazada or to the e-distributor of the brand or the brand themselves. So it's a bit confusing and less straightforward than on Facebook. And lastly, I would say that.
Oh no, please continue.
And lastly, in Vietnam, there is still 90% of payment in cash on delivery. And Facebook is perceived as much easier to use as everyone already know how to use Messenger. As Shopee and Lazada, on the other hand, are more and more sophisticated, but it appears not so easy to use. So for example, as you said in your introduction, the where is my order question is not super easy to solve when you're on Lazada. Okay, I want to know where is my order. How do I do? While on Facebook, the answer is only one click away, one message away on Messenger. So that's one of the reasons why actually we see a higher penetration of conversational commerce within more mature population above 30-year-old. So yeah, I think that's all the main trends that really tell us, okay, as a brand, we really need to tackle this market.
Right. No, that's very helpful, Pierre-Olivier. I also noticed that because we're talking very much about how you use trust and assurance on the Facebook platform to drive a lot of these conversational commerce transactions, one question came up from the audience here that we can kind of wrap up on what you're seeing on the Facebook platform is they asked, how does Facebook harness the power of the community via conversational commerce? And you told me in our earlier conversations that you use groups. I think it would be really helpful for the audience, your active Facebook angle. So do you think you can share with them how you use groups as a way to build that trust and insight leading to conversational commerce?
So I would say that we are not, as a brand, actually, we are not really accepted in those closed groups. And I think actually that what makes those closed groups very reliable and trustworthy for the consumer. So I would say that closed group, we stay out officially. We do not enter there and broadcast deals. Otherwise, we are getting kicked out, right? And actually, it's good like this. Otherwise, the group will be polluted and become less relevant. But we do keep ourselves informed about whether we have a share of voice in there, and is our brand a topic of conversations, and what are the main questions asked about our brands, and it will help us to sharpen our strategy on Facebook.
Yeah, so I like that, because it's true, a lot of these groups are run by real people who care strongly about a topic or a kind of product or service, and they're trying to get almost like real life, real people reviews. So knowing that groups like these exist, and knowing that it's important that firstly, when you are on Facebook, if I can just jump in and say, and you do these, you have your page, you have your ads, it's important to be able to respond to people's reviews and questions. Like, again, coming back down to Pierre-Olivier's point about fast responsiveness, building that trust. Because then, whether it's a good review, bad review, when you respond to customers, these customers, for all you know, are part of these groups, and these groups draw a consumer, and that can build towards your brand organically. So that is an important thing to note when you think about the presence of groups and real life consumers driving these conversations. So going back to some of the other questions that I've looked at before we came into this webinar, a lot of these, one of the things that people are asking me a lot is like, okay, all these are fine, conversational commerce during like normal times. During COVID, are we seeing any change? Are we seeing like I know the data says an uptick, but what do you say, Pierre-Olivier, as a brand owner during the COVID period?
Okay, so in Vietnam, we had a lockdown between March to end of May. So it's undeniable that online sales have grown very much. But according to Kantar, social commerce and live streaming are the two major online behavior which the penetration has accelerated the most. So definitely Facebook became more than ever the number one destination for our consumer. So what we've done at L'Oréal, we double down on social commerce and expand to all our brands across the 4 divisions, from mass to luxe to derma, and also professional hair care. What we can observe is that Kiehl's, who was launched long ago, like a year ago, has consistently hitting new records during this period. So we were at the highest in terms of sales on Facebook, and at the same time, Kiehl's was reinforcing its leadership as a #1 brand on last mall. So what we can say that there were not much cannibalization between the two channels, and it keep growing on social commerce. Then in terms of categories, so obviously skincare show better performance than makeup, but most interestingly, within the skincare, you can see that the higher price points, skincare has shown best performance on social commerce. So it might have to do something with the need for personalized advice conversation, as premium skincare is said to have a high involvement, said to be a high involvement category. So luxury skincare and derma skincare like Vichy, La Roche-Posay were by far performing the best. Also during the COVID, I think you all heard that live streaming was booming. So what we've done is that thanks to our close partnership with Facebook, we were privileged to trial a new Facebook feature, which is a live shopping that you've shown in your introduction for La Roche-Posay. So the hashtag comment during the live triggers a messenger conversation, and the results have been very promising so far. So the engagement was really high with nearly 1,000 of comments, hence the conversation. And we see that it was a way to drive engagement, but also awareness, and it does help to get chat started. Also, post live streaming, we can share the best moment of the live streaming and push ads. And definitely, we've done like probably 5 to 10 live streaming a week across all divisions, and people were doing live streaming at home because there was a lockdown. So yeah, it's definitely a big trend that we leverage.
Thanks, Pierre-Olivier. So there are a lot of questions coming about, like a lot of, you might get a lot of customer service requests. You have, they're asking whether there's a need for a strong team to run conversational commerce. And I think all this kind of dovetails into how you work with your partners, and especially like your tech partner, Haravan. I'm keen to understand and your experience specifically with the work that you do with Haravan on Messenger, backed up by the full logistics and inventory management system for queues. Were there some gaps that you identified prior to engaging Haravan, and what were the learnings that you can share with the people dialing in on finding conversational commerce partners?
So yeah, we start with what are the main gaps that we try to fill when we were looking for a partner. So the first gap was, okay, we are not yet responsive enough to the consumer. So there is inflation of chat volume of conversation. And what we need is to be 100% responsive, and if possible, less than 5 minutes response time. Because beyond the 5 minutes, I think the consumer is dropping attention. So, and also what we notice is that most of the conversation are taking place outside working hours, late at night or early in the morning or during weekends. So first thing, we look for a chatbot in order to ensure 24/7 answer to our consumer. Of course, chatbot do not replace fully the human, so consumer can exit the bot at any point in time when there is a need to talk to a physical person, and which actually happen pretty often. As long and in that sense, Haravan was a good partner because it's a self-service platform. The brand builds the platform. We build the bot by ourselves. We can change, edit, optimize the flow by ourselves internally without hiring an agency to do on our behalf. Second, we wanted the flow as seamless as possible and as also fully integrated with a more straightforward journey from the conversation to the checkout. So in Vietnam, we don't have a boutique, an online boutique. So we needed a partner to build the checkout and the payments. And that's how Haravan helped us to build microsites and the integration of the payment gateway. So in the front end, the microsite are leveraging the messenger browser so that the consumer do not get the feeling of exiting the messenger. And in the back end, Haravan provides an order management system, which is plugged to our own warehouse. So we decided to internalize actually the logistics so that we can own the data. So we own the funnel from end to end. From the awareness to the purchase and even the delivery. So we really have a control on the full experience. And when it comes to working with a partner, I would say that it's not because you have a partner that you have nothing to do. You do need to build your internal capabilities to be able to handle the partner and build the tech roadmap with Haravan, and be creative and to have a vision. Because your partner is not here to create the vision, just execute your needs, right? But so internally we need not only a human to answer, but also digital experts to build the roadmap. Yeah.
So what you're saying is there's a need for some automation, firstly identifying the different gaps and then find ways to integrate it into your infrastructure that's already in place, say your logistics and your then also to the extent that you're hiring like army of people to run conversational commerce, because you need to manage kind of like balance human voice with automatic efficiencies, as well as like the fact that you have to own the vision for the brand and the consumer experience. Will I be summarizing that right?
Yeah,
Super.
exactly.
Thank you. Okay. We have about 5 minutes left. I want to be able to take something a little bit more future looking. I am curious to also hear what you're excited about in the commerce journey, like the future that you think all should be prepared for. I think you've covered a lot of really great points around data, around experience. Anything else that we might be missing through this journey?
Well, I think what is exciting is that it's still a very early stage, especially for the B2C social commerce. So first, I'm really keen to see how the border between social and commerce is going to evolve. We already know that it's already blurred because e-commerce platform becomes social, and we see that social become commerce. And so far, the social media and e-commerce platform were partnering, joining forces with collaborative ads, CPaaS, and now they are actually competing. And we can see even Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, even TikTok outside Facebook are getting into the commerce. So no matter whether platform and social are partnering or competing, in the end, the consumer is always a winner because there is still new ways to shop where and how they want. But it's still social commerce. I think it's still unknown where it goes, because for e-commerce in Southeast Asia, we clearly know that we are following the path of Tmall and Taobao in China because it's actually the same companies, right? So we know where we are going. We just look at China. But for social commerce, it's not the same players. We don't have the the China-based social media coming into Southeast Asia. It is actually a US-based social media companies like Facebook who have the mission now to create those new experiences of social commerce and probably come up with a different type of social commerce than what we can see in China. So I think it's going to be very interesting to observe. And also it comes along with a new type of consumers. So far, the classic e-commerce has led to a generation of consumers who are deal hunter in quest of convenience and promotions, while social commerce is more about discovery generation in quest of new experiences, browsing, and new ways to connect. So for example, in the end, if I sell a fragrance on e-commerce, I may need a high level of promotion or discount, while on social commerce, it will be all about the experience, the quality of the story, the Facebook story I'm using. Is it providing meaningful conversation? And I may not need a discount or promotion because actually I will be able to connect in a much more personalized way with my target audience. So I think, yeah, the consumer expectations are quite changing, and that makes it super interesting. Yeah.
Thank you, Pierre-Olivier. That was super exciting, and I really appreciate your time with us today. I think our time is up. Laura, over to you.
Okay.
Amazing. Thank you both so much. This was hugely insightful. I've been taking a load of notes to see how I can take more from this. So I think it's an area we could have spent at least another hour discussing as it's moving so quickly. So thank you both for sharing. For those of you in the audience who had asked, the slides will be available post this session. We will be sharing with you a survey to get your feedback to understand what more different topics you'd like us to address in our Revolve webinar series. And once you've completed that, the slides will be available for you to download. Just wanted to put on your radar that next week, our webinar, we take a completely different topic again, and we look at potential barriers and opportunities for programmatic specifically in the region, bringing together both brands and publishers to understand where there might be gaps with regards to programmatic. So please do go to our website to find out more and to sign up. Pierre-Olivier and Karen, on behalf of all of us here at the IAB and everyone on this webinar, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for sharing so candidly, and we really hope that we'll be able to have you back to join us again. Thank you.
Thank you.